When it comes to buying or selling top quality Angus cattle, experience matters. Visit cotton-associates.com. That's cotton-associates.com to learn about our fall Angus sales. And join us for our upcoming October sales at the Jack's Ranch Family Tradition Sale and Michigan Angus at Omega Farms. Working together, succeeding together. That's Cotton and Associates.
Welcome back to the Angus Report. We're here with our special guests, Dr. Larry Corah and Dr. Nevil Speer, discussing the straight breeding versus crossbreeding approach. Larry, earlier you mentioned some of the actual benefits of crossbreeding, including heterosis or hybrid vigor, but why aren't more people taking advantage of that approach?
Well, I think initially the benefits that were the improved growth and even some of the reproductive efficiencies that were very, very important to the beef industry. What then happened is through genetic selection and the kind of genetic information that all breeds are providing, and certainly the Angus breed has been one of the leaders in that whole area, is that we can change cattle in terms of the growth potential. The growth potential of the English breeds, the Angus or Herefords, breeds like that, has changed immensely, and so subsequently a lot of cattle producers, in fact a very high percentage, or approaching half of the cattle producers, are able to achieve some of the things they want to achieve from a production system standpoint without necessarily having to do that through a crossbreeding. They've been able to do it through a straight breeding program. It's been more convenient, a little easier for them to do, and it's become a very popular breeding system.
I think the other aspect of that too is that the benefits of heterosis express themselves the most in times of environmental stress, and any time that you provide some kind of stress upon cattle. And in the last 20 to 30 years, we've certainly made, I would like to think, huge strides in terms of management skills within the cow-calf sector. So as along with these genetic improvements, we've also done a better job of communicating things in terms of forage management, weaning management, what have you. Now we still have some ways to go, but we've been able to offset some of that too.
And I think a key part of that, Neville, is the fact that we have to run a lot of cows with limited labor. Labor is a huge issue in agriculture, and it's certainly on the cow-calf operations in terms of being able to afford that. So we need to have functional cattle that avoid things that take time, like calving difficulty. Calving difficulty is a case in point. We talk about the positives of heterosis. We need to keep in mind that there is heterosis relative to birth weight. So if we have a bigger calf, that impacts calving ease. We also need to have predictable genetics. And so looking at what we'll call convenience traits, Neville, has become very, very important to cattlemen. They want to have something that's convenient but easy to implement.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and that's one of the primary things that we try to bring out in the paper as we discuss. Maybe what's going on out there is that time constraints or time management is increasingly a very important issue. And so we just don't have time to deal with problems. And so if it happens that crossbreeding, just to get the benefit of additional pounds, perhaps might introduce some complication, whether it's in calving ease or whether it's the heifers that we retain and perhaps have udder difficulties or what have you, then we just forego that, and we might even choose to give up some pounds in order to save the issues in terms of time management. Yeah.
And that's something that you point out in your paper too, is that time and labor requirements are important no matter what size of operation you run.
Yeah, I think that's really true, because ultimately what we've seen is that we've kind of squeezed cow-calf producers in the middle, right? So the producers that run 100 to 200 cows, so ultimately what's happened is we've gotten operations that are much larger, so they're running lots of cows, so one single individual just doesn't warrant the time, because we don't have that, because we're trying to be very careful with our labor management. Or alternatively, what we have on the other side is part-time producers. So we might be running 25, 30, or 50 cows, but we have some source of income elsewhere. And so again, one of the points that we make is that in most instances, cows are not the primary source of income, and so they just don't warrant any kind of undue labor input.
I think another real key point, Neville, too, is that producers have become very cognizant of that consumer, and there's market signals starting to float through the industry that if you can hit these higher quality targets, the primes, the premium choice like certified Angus beef, if you can hit those targets, there are dollars associated with them, and they're not small dollars, Neville.
Yep.
We're not talking a dollar premium. We're starting to talk of premiums of $20 plus per hundredweight of carcass for prime, hitting a prime target, commonly will be between $4 and $6 per hundredweight of carcass for hitting a premium choice program like certified Angus beef. And so those economic signals also influence management decisions or breeding decisions, because people take a lot of pride in producing a product that satisfies that consumer.
I think one of the secondary issues of time management also that goes on here, we talked earlier about sort of this virtuous loop, right, that you get positive feedback going both ways, is that time management in terms of providing genetic inputs becomes important too. How far am I going to go as a cow-calf producer to purchase new bulls, and where do I want to go? And if I have a very relied supplier right down the road that has provided good bulls for me and I trust him, I'm going to continue to go back there because I don't have that to worry about. Because otherwise, when we begin to want to change the system, there's a switching cost there, whether it's time and or money. And so that becomes very important that way too.
There's also the decreased cattle inventories, and that's something that I want to discuss with both of you when we return from break right after this.